The Rodriguez family have just arrived in San Jose, California, from a small town in Mexico. The Rodriguez family, Julio, Rosie, and their mom have made the decision to move in search of a better life.
Okay, guys.
They arrive at an apartment carrying a small amount of their belongings. Unfortunately, moving to a new country had put a hole in their pockets and caused them to struggle paying their rent on time.
Just give me one more week. I promise I'll get you that money by that time.
Jessica, you know I don't like getting paid late, but since I'm being nice, I'll give you a week or else you'll get kicked out.
Thank you so much. I promise I'll get you that money by that time.
Mrs. Rodriguez is standing at a sketchy-looking corner and seems to be waiting for someone. A man shows up to her.
Do you have it?
Yeah.
Give it to me.
Unfortunately for Mrs. Rodriguez, she wasn't given the right amount of money.
Hey, wait, you didn't give me the
She
right
tries to run
money.
after the man. However, she was unable to catch up with him. Mrs. Rodriguez and Miss Chan are seen arguing with each other.
I don't care if you have some of the money. I was already nice enough to give you an extension.
Please, just give me a few more days. I'll get the money somehow. I beg of you.
I'm sorry, but you've been evicted out of this apartment.
Mrs. Rodriguez is heartbroken because her family no longer has a place to live, and they ended up living on a sidewalk by a busy street. Julio is seen stopping in front of a library. He grabs a newspaper, goes outside, and sits down. He then looks at the newspaper and starts circling potential jobs. Julio is seen meeting various managers in search of a job. However, each one of them rejected him. Julio, devastated from being rejected numerous times, slowly walks while looking down and kicking a pebble. He accidentally kicks the pebble too far and it hits a pavement connecting to a restaurant. He looks up and sees the restaurant and decides to walk in. Julio slowly approaches an individual that appears to be the owner. However, the owner is talking to someone else, but then they eventually leave. He then talks to the owner and asks for a job. The owner is quite hesitant at first, but then sees how sincere he is and nods her head.
Hi sir, may I take your order?
A cup of water would be nice.
Julio is carrying a heavy box of vegetables while running up the stairs after his boss called him. However, he tripped on his way up the stairs. At the top, his boss scolds him due to his slow pace while he pants in exhaustion.
Julio, if you want to keep this job, you've got to put in your pace.
Sorry, okay.
As Julio does his tasks excessively, the businessman starts to notice his struggling dedication to his job. Later on, the businessman decides to walk up to his friend, the manager, and ask her about Julio.
Hey, who's that guy over there? How come I've never seen him work here before?
That's Julio. You've probably been too busy to notice him.
Oh, I didn't know that. Why is such a young man working at such a young age?
He's undergone many hardships. His family is currently living on the streets because they didn't have enough money to pay for rent since they have recently moved here from Mexico.
I have to go now.
The next day, the businessman is at the restaurant once again, but this time with a change of heart.
I'll have the same as last time.
After the businessman finishes his order, he places a check and a letter on the table and then leaves. When Julio returns back to the man's table, he picks up the check hesitantly. Then a letter falls out from underneath the check. He then picks it up, sits down, and reads the letter. Dear Julio, you've really piqued my interest after seeing your hard work and dedication around the restaurant. So I had to ask the manager about you. After learning about you, I must say, I'm very much in awe with your efforts to support your family. So I thought that I would give you a little something to compensate for your numerous hardships. Please use it wisely and continue to work hard for your family and maybe contribute to your community too. The best of luck to you and your future encounters. Anonymous. Julio was deeply touched by this gentleman's random act of kindness. He devoted most of his time to his studies and applied to the University of California, Berkeley, in order to one day repay this man, even though he may never meet him ever again. Julio was ecstatic that he got accepted into the University of Berkeley, so then he runs off and hugs random people. Julio had finally overcome many great hardships and had bought his family a place to live in. After a few years of attending Berkeley, Julio started a business for both him and his family. Also, he is the founder of the Strangers Foundation, which donates money to impoverished immigrants in dedication to the stranger that gave him money.